So the problem we all face, too much time spent on repetitive scripting, right? If you've been a DBA for more than a year or two, a lot of the things that you do are the same thing over and over. And so, if we had someone who, let's say, was our assistant, that we're able to give very specific directions that, like, hey, I want a SQL script or a PowerShell script or whatever it is for to accomplish X, to have them go write that code for us. And then we're going to take that code and we're going to review it. We're going to make sure it's right, as we would, with any junior, resource that we have. Um, that becomes an incredible kind of force multiplier. Troubleshooting, slowing projects down, knowledge gaps across teams, documentation that's always out of date. And this statement, if only I had another DBA, right? And so we want to talk about AI in the context of, if you have a junior DBA that you can ask to do things for you. And like any junior DBA, you're not going to take those things and just go deploy it and just assume that it's right. But you have a tool that can do a lot of these things for you. AI as the new assistant for DBAs. ChatGPT is kind of the OG, right? Microsoft is really pushing Copilot all over the place. In fact, I had a conversation with a friend of mine that has worked at Microsoft for many years, and he made the comment that, it used to be at Microsoft that to get anything approved, you had to call it Azure something or other. Now you have to call it Copilot something or other, right? So a little bit of a humorous take on company cultures and product development and the politics of it. But Microsoft's very focused on Copilot. It works with your existing SQL Server workflows. We're not saying, hey, here's GPT SSMS, right? Throw away everything that you're doing and have AI do your work for you. That's not at all what we're saying. Again, I really like this concept of a force multiplier, right? If I can accomplish, 4 times as much in a workday as I could without this tool, I like the tool, particularly if I am able to have it do things for me that are tedious. I know how to write T-SQL. I know how to write PowerShell. I know the things, that I want to do. I know how to update documentation, right? But to be able to have that do that for me is a huge, like I said, force multiplier. And, part of this for us as consultants is that I feel a responsibility to our customers, that we're always looking for ways to be more efficient, to provide more value in terms of their time and essentially their money, right? I'd rather get more interesting things accomplished for a customer in the same number of billable hours than just to bill. That's not what we're about here at SSG. Where can it help us? Generate or fix T-SQL scripts, speed up troubleshooting steps, surface best practices, automate documentation, enhance learning and knowledge transfer. This is one of the cool things that I have discovered in my journey with ChatGPT is primarily what I use. So I'll be doing ChatGPT demos. Kyle and Rich have some Copilot stuff. But I've learned a lot, right? I've been writing T-SQL for a very long time. Like Warwick said, probably more than I'd like to admit. You can tell by the color of my beard. And PowerShell, for not as long, but probably 10, 15 years. But I'll ask ChatGPT to write me a script, and it might do things in ways that I'm like, wow, that's a really cool technique. I just learned something. And now I can take that and apply that in my own code and the things that I'm doing. Okay, ChatGPT for SQL Server. The ability to take natural language, convert it to T-SQL, right? Or how do I do this? Just things to point me in the right direction. I may not be asking ChatGPT to do the work for me, but In a lot of ways, I think of this as like it's Google on steroids, right? I might have a question and I ask Google and it gives me, a whole bunch of search results and I'm going to go through, I'm going to click through all of them. I'm going to maybe look through, 5 or 6 or 10 Stack Overflow questions and answers before I get to the one that actually works. ChatGPT does a pretty good job, not perfect, but a pretty good job of answering those questions quickly. And it also provides me links to, where it got that information from. It's not always right. Sometimes it's really, really wrong, and so you do have to, just like you would in a web search, right? Stack Overflow. There's a lot of questions and answers out there that the answer is 100% incorrect, right? At least from a best practice standpoint. So we're not saying, ChatGPT is smarter than you. It's not. It's perhaps better and faster than you at going and finding this information that's out there and analyzing it and putting it together in a packaged format. Generate PowerShell DBA tool scripts. We use DBA tools heavily at SSG, and we've done other webinars on that. But I have found that ChatGPT knows DBA tools really well, and so I can tell it, "Hey, I want to do this using DBA tools," and it will put together a pretty good script.